so it's not that bad.
All right, we are going to jump back now to the KCAL, where we are joined by the Atchison Lady Redmen. Last year, they were coached by Coach Ronnie Edelman. Last year, Atchison went 12-9 overall, finished 8-2 within the KCAL. So we'd like to welcome Atchison High School.
Outlook. All right. Well, we've been coming. I'm going to have kind of like Coach Allen said earlier. I'm going to have a pretty young team. Obviously, I've got a couple of big kids I've got to replace, and we'll have to replace those. And we got some younger kids that really have stepped in these first couple weeks and really going to fit into the rotation unexpectedly, I think, at this point. So hopefully we'll be able to get them and mesh them in with the older kids and be able to go from there. And I'll have with me Lorene Cushenberry, who's the senior.
Hi.
So, Lorene, talk a little bit about taking over, leadership. Erica Smith was a big-time player here in the league for a few years. So, talk about taking over that role and you being the leader on the team this year.
Well, yeah, like you said, Erica played a big role, and she was like basically the star of our offense or whatever. But I feel like this year we have a lot of people. It's not going to be just one person stepping up. It's going to be like everybody stepping up no matter what grade you're in. Like we have freshmen coming up and stepping up, and we have sophomores, we have juniors, and of course we have seniors. And I feel like each one of us knows our role, and we're going to play that role, and it's going to all come together and make the team.
So, Coach, you kind of mentioned unexpectedly some newer players kind of stepping up a little bit. Maybe talk about some, what you see in the first couple weeks of practice and who you see stepping up, contributing.
Well, obviously Mackenzie Doherty is going to have to step in as a junior and take a much bigger leadership role and a ball handling role with how things are going to work. And I think we're going to have probably 2 or 3, maybe even 4 freshmen that you're going to see from us this year that are probably going to step in and really, if not at least give me some substantial minutes, hopefully provide us with a little bit of scoring punch and some defensive quickness that I think will be probably different than what we've had in the past few years.
Just coaching-wise, you're talking about more players stepping up and doing everything. Talk about your transition from having a player that you kind of lean on a little bit more in certain situations of being able to spread it out now amongst everybody on the team.
Yeah, it's going to be different. The last couple of years, obviously I had Erica Smith last year. The year before that, we had Madison Sanders, who was a tremendous leader for us on the floor. And I always had that kid that I could say, okay, we need to get her the ball, and then we need to go. Well, I don't think we're going to have that kid this year, but I think I'm going to have 9 kids, maybe even 10, that I could feel comfortable being in that role at any time during the game. So I think that's going to be the change. It's going to be how quickly can we get those younger kids up to speed and be able to play at the speed of a varsity level game just coming from the middle school.
So how much work were you able to get with them over the summer, or is it kind of starting from scratch here with the freshmen?
Pretty much started from scratch here. We had one of those freshmen is actually a girl who moved in that I didn't even know existed until 2 weeks before the season. I had no clue how she played until we came up the first day. It was a pretty big surprise. And the other girl was at the middle school but didn't participate in any of my summer activities. So again, a surprise that jumped in there that I really wasn't expecting it at this point.
Lauren, talk a little bit about your summer. You averaged a double-double last year. What did you do over the summer? Put in work to build on that for this season.
Over the summer, we had to make up for our offense because we lost those players, and we had to find what we needed to work on personally. And I feel like what I needed to work on personally was working as a team and knowing that I have 4 other people on the court that know what they're doing, and to use those 4 people on the court to my advantage, and to have court vision to know where my players are at and where I should throw the ball and how to do our offense, basically.
So, Coach, of course, you guys haven't played any games in the league yet, but let's talk a little bit about league. The last couple of years kind of been you and Sumner battling back and forth, and this year there's some talk maybe some other teams maybe been in that mix. Talk about a little bit about the KCAL from ladies basketball perspective.
I think it's, like Coach Allen said earlier, it's tough every year. We get in there, and we've been very fortunate the past couple of years. We've been at the top of that group. And I still think we can compete to be at the top of that group, but I think Washington has done some tremendous things. Coach Tate's done some great things with those girls that he's got there and got them working and coming. Sumner's always going to be tough. We know they're going to be there. And I think Schlegel's, got some up-and-coming kids, a new coach over there, probably going to do some good things there. So I think it's gotten more competitive, definitely gotten more competitive since we've come into the league in the past 5 years. So, and I think that's always good. That helps us to prepare for our postseason play and be better prepared to play those games.
How much of a style difference will we see this year with the young players? Are you adjusting anything you're doing from a coaching perspective, or just kind of the things you want to run? Are you pressing, or obviously trying to get back, or what are you thinking there?
I've done a lot. We've gone through a little bit of a transition already in the past couple weeks, and as I see them on the floor more and more, I think you're probably going to see us evolve from even what we see at the beginning of the year to probably what you're going to see in the middle of the year. I'm starting to get a better idea of what maybe some of the strengths and weaknesses are of those younger kids, and I think we may have to transition a little bit, probably even over the holiday break. We may look at changing up our defensive style a little bit to where I can feel I can better take advantage of the abilities that those younger kids have to be able to mesh them in with the older kids. So, to start, my style's always been fairly aggressive. I want to get up and down the floor and run, and I feel like I have some pretty athletic posts that can move up and down the floor and can run and get us some easy transition baskets. And so we'll continue to try and do that. As far as pressing and doing some of that, it's going to depend on how quickly those younger kids come up to speed, because in order to be able to do that and play at that pace, you really got to be able to play 8, 9, maybe even 10 kids on a consistent basis and really not have any drop off from one group to the next. So we'll see how quickly those younger kids transition into that and can feed into that role, and then we'll see where we're at from there.
Thank you.
Yep.